It's Yu-Gi-Oh time! Hello and welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the S.H Monsterarts Stardust Dragon, Stardust Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh 5D's, which is the best show of Yu-Gi-Oh. Man, Stardust Dragon is the boss monster of the main character of Yusei Fudo in the show, but also on itself is one hell of a card that did a lot to the meta when it first was released many years ago, and even still sees a little bit of fringe play today. But we're not here to talk about the card, we're here to look at the figure. Man, this guy looks shiny all over the place, so I can't wait to get him out of the packaging and actually have a look at the figure. So let's go! Trying to unbox this thing isn't an easy task because it's so freaking massive. But while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what's your favorite card from Yu-Gi-Oh 5D's. So handling this guy is not the most fun thing to do. I don't even know how I'm going to show you the size because obviously I'm having like lightly hunched over the legs. You can't really straighten them out. I mean, you try, but there's parts that already, like there is a crotch piece that just keeps falling off, so I'm not gonna bother putting that on again. It's right here. It has a usage, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let's have a look at size. He stands right now to the top of like the back of his fin. It's like 21 centimeters, and then for your inches, it's about 8 and almost 8.5. Again, there's not really a good way to show you the exact size, of course, if you spread them out. If you have like in a flying pose like that, if that's something you fancy, then he would make like a lot more. Let me just hold up the ruler real quick to this mess. Yeah, that would be over 30 centimeters. And as the same, it would be over 12 inches if you go all the way up. So let's have a look at the size comparisons. Here's Jolter, the S.H Figuarts Son Goku, S.H Monsterarts Blue Eyes White Dragon, Revoltech Yusei Fudo, Amakuni Stardust Dragon, the real deal, and Darkseid. So making this figure in like a solid way would always be a big issue because of the freaking huge wings, and as you can tell, it doesn't really hold up. So sturdiness, yeah, you definitely need some medical assistance for the wings. If you pop it up just right and get it into the right angle, you can make it keep a pose somewhat, but then you have, you know, all the floppy bits. It's kind of, if the plastic parts of the wings lean on each other, you can somehow keep the pose. But again, it's huge wings, but then again, I really don't know why they did it that way. More on that later. So, overall look and detail. Starting off at the face sculpt, we do even have a tongue in there, which is on a tiny ball joint. And tiny ball joints, boy, there are a lot on this figure. I talk about sturdiness, not being able to keep the wings up. The body works for the most part, but everything, like the most part of this figure is all like on small, tiny ball joints. So they like to disconnect, don't break off, but they like to disconnect. So playing around with this figure is a bit of an issue. Speaking of issues, we have some bleeding on the lines in the neck area. Not really anywhere else. As you can tell, he's nice and shiny. He also has his big, freaking weird moon crater nipples. Yes, that's what I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to refer to it. But we got a lot of shades of light blue and then the silver. And as you can tell, it's all a bunch of metallic slapped together to make this guy really pop. And I have zero complaints about that. You know, it is a mythical space dragon, so it's supposed to look like that. Then we have the wings. Again, mold is fine, color is fine. I don't know why you have so many pieces, but again, I want to have a better look on the wings later. Also, we do have some shading in the back of the area, so really nicely done. I mean, paint-wise, I have yet to see an S.H Monsterarts that really fails on that regard, but let's have a look at the back. We have some more light blue shading. Got the tail with the weird spike on the back. Once again, segmented into like a bunch of different ways. And you can tell the wings just kind of falling together over and over again. We go down to the big knee pads, which again are really excessive. They're like a ball pack. Like a dumbbell. I can't get it off right now. And I don't want to break anything off, so be very careful with those tiny joints. Same with the feet. Each individual claw is just like on a tiny ball. First time I moved one around, it already popped off immediately. So, you know, Haven't had any breakage yet, but again, playability with this guy, he's quite fragile and stuff doesn't really like to stay in place, especially if we're talking about the wings. In order to have a chance to show you the articulation properly, I had to take off the wings. I'm gonna have a separate look at the wings, but for now, I had to get this out of the way. So first and foremost, we do have mouth articulation, moves up and down, and can also be swiveled just a teensy tiny little bit. And the tongue is hard to reach, but it also is on like a tiny ball. So you can lift that up just a little bit. Then for the neck articulation, it's segmented, so you have one over there, and we have another piece on the lower half of the neck. So you move this forward gently, carefully. Try to give it a nice push. This part is kind of hard to move because it really doesn't leave a gap, and that's fine unless you move it down like that. But it kind of gets stuck on the neck, so you really have to just gently rotate it around to get some more out of it. But, you know, you can straighten out the neck quite nicely. And also going back to the head real quick, everything of course can be rotated to a certain degree. Again, giving it a nice push, don't force it too much because small ball joints might have an issue. Swiveling in the neck is somewhat limited. I feel like only the part on the lower half over here does like a good job of that. And then the neck part, the base of the neck itself, not that great. So, then we get to the chest area. We do have actually elbow pads on here, which you can see there's a small pack that ends on a ball if the camera would focus. But yeah, you have just a little bit of wiggle motion with that. It's not great. Yeah, it just moves up and down just a teensy tiny bit. So as such, it's also somewhat blocking the entire arm movement. You can bring this up and down. Back and forth motion actually works quite nice in the socket. There's still left a decent amount of room, but the swiveling also. Then we have on the elbow, it's a simple ball hinge, and then we have another ball hinge in the hand, so you can move that back and forth and also swivel it around. And the lower half of the wrist, you can see this part over there, that's just a floaty piece, so that moves around with it. Overall, I mean, generally speaking also, the figure looks pretty clean. You don't really see many ball joints in there, so that's quite nice. Now, for the entire torso area, okay, that was the elbow joint just popping off. For the entire torso area, you can bring this up, back and forth, and then side to side, and can also be swiveled. Now going to the tail area, so once again it's segmented, obviously ball joint over here, ball joint over here, and there we have some more blockage, but you can also obviously swivel that. This one doesn't really have that much range. This one's a little bit better, and then we have another one over here, and then over here, and then over here, and then over here. This one seems like, again, very small, and you can swivel. This also on the ball, yeah, there's a ball joint in there, so you can also slight rotation on the back of the tail. Now for the legs, once again, you have to remember I have the crotch piece not assembled, not put it in there, so that's just gonna pop off immediately. But the legs go up quite nicely, and then to the back also gets a beautiful way out of there, and then moves out to the side again, looking very cleanly because you have a floaty piece in there which covers up most of the articulation, and you can swivel it, of course. Then we have a double hinged knee with the knee pad, has like a double, another dumbbell joint in there. I don't know why they did that. Why not make it on like a ball that kind of maybe sticks out a little bit, but still, I mean, greater range of motion for just such a weird feature. And then the leg, well, the foot is another ball hinge. I think that's not even a ball hinge. I think it's just a ball in there. If I can get this off without breaking anything off, there's like another floaty piece on the foot. But then we have also the individual claws are just on balls, so you can rotate that around, and it actually stays on there right now, so very thankful for that. Now let's have a look at the wings. Now for the wings, I feel like it's kind of excessive because we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 ball hinges in there. As such, you can move it up and down, but you also try to rotate the ball hinge inside of there so you can get some more poses where you can move it inside. It takes a lot of playing around, also is on tiny ball hinges, so it does like to disconnect, and also it's quite gappy in general. You do get some nice wingspan on it, but still, why have so many separate parts in the wings? Okay, I'm gonna take a small intermission here and show you all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Why I get angry sometimes in between cuts is because of stuff like that. Why do you have like the dumbbell ball joint over here? So this is like so annoying to disconnect. There's also like a part where you're supposed to slide in the middle part. And then I try to put this back on. I can't see what's going on in there. I don't know if the balls are connected. So stuff like that is just really pissing me off. Also, while I was doing that, the elbow patch is disconnected. And that's really it. I just want to show, like, really playing around with this figure, handling this figure, stuff will disconnect, and sometimes it is cumbersome to put everything back together. So be aware when considering buying this figure. On with the review now. For the accessories, it's quite basic. We have two different hands. Well, it's not a set of hands, just kind of slightly folded up, no fists or whatever, but that's fine. We also have a beautiful looking energy effect. Has some like metallic on there. It's really shiny, gets a lot brighter in the middle. Yeah, I mean, overall, no complaints there. Has a hole here somewhere, so you can connect it to the base. Get some cool poses with that. Now, here is like the other crotch piece with a hole in it. So we can directly connect it to the crotch handler. This is how you connect the character to the base. Just get that in there. And has like a harder connection like the previous ones, and I really appreciate that. So we have two separate arms, one to hold on to the Stardust Dragon himself and one for the energy effect. And then obviously you got the base with 4 separate holes in there, and then you have the other arms so you can connect the wings and try to hold everything up. I'm so freaking done. I'm so freaking done. I don't care anymore. I'm trying to get this piece of garbage into a pose, but there's like everything just falling off. The elbow parts are falling off. Try and get this on here. So I already tightened the screws of the joints, but you know, if you're playing with this floppy freaking mess. Okay, there's some more. There's like, well, that's the elbow pad just already on the floor. Yeah, I don't... Is this the final thoughts? I don't know if I'm even gonna do a final thoughts, because I'm tired. I'm freaking tired of stupid reviews like that, where I just take 3 hours trying to get this stupid idiot into a pose. Everything is falling off. I'm crashing out. I'm done. I'm so freaking done. I don't recommend this figure because it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold a pose. It's a freaking pain in the ass, and just buy a statue. Seriously, I have a Stardust Dragon statue, which I have buyer's remorse of this idiot right now. Because while it looks cool, while the articulation is nice, it doesn't freaking hold a pose. Everything just falls apart. The wings don't hold up without having some medical security assistance of like 300, just all these stupid prongs holding it together. Not recommended, because S.H. Monsterarts just can't create something that's stable. And yes, the wings are huge, but why the fuck are you gonna use so many freaking segments? Just use, like, instead of all of this trash, just have like 3 segmented wings, and it just, this is just collapsing. This is freaking spaghetti, and I don't like it. As much as I like the look, I cannot recommend this. As much as it pisses me off to put this thing in a pose, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down and gonna end this review right now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you had fun with my suffering. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, VTuber stuff, and whatever Stardust Dragon wants.